What's up, everybody? Trip Morgan here with PantherSource.com, and I'm joined by my good friend Tony Dunn from Cat Chronicles. What's up, Tony?
Hey, man. Glad to be here.
How'd you enjoy that dress rehearsal game?
It was all right, I guess. I mean, I'm trying not to get overly high or low on the preseason. You know, we had it's been a roller coaster, up and down. We have a good first showing, bad second showing. I would say overall a very good showing tonight, but at the same time, I mean, like, really, I'm just ready to get to the regular season, man, where these games mean something. Yeah,
you kind of had to hold your breath out there with all those starters in the rain. That's not something you necessarily wanted to see as soon as they started reporting that early.
Zero. I don't want to see them, period.
Yeah, it's like as a fan, you want to indulge in seeing your guys on the field, but then it sits there and it hits you. This is preseason. I think I can wait 2 more weeks. There's no need to lose a star player right now. You know?
And, I mean, for some of them, okay, I get it. Like, let's see Mayo out there. Let's see Damiere Byrd. Let's see Funchess out there.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, I know what Greg Olson can do as a football player. He ain't going to get any better in these 2 weeks.
It's like what were we talking about during the game? You mentioned Greg Olson's not going to get any better at blocking. He's been in the league long enough. Yeah. We know what he was getting with him blocking.
He can't block. I mean, we just know that. But I mean, like Thomas Davis was out there all the way to the end of the second. And I know everybody can say this, is that the third game is when they typically play the starters to the first half. But you know what? I don't even care.
Especially in the rain.
Look,
in the rain, it's a whole different story.
And all people have said, I hear a lot of former players say this, we don't need 4 preseason games. That they could do this in 2. There's been an argument that you could reduce the preseason from 4 to 2 and then extend the regular season. Well, I don't think you should do either. I think you should just reduce it to 2. I mean, I don't think we really learned that much, and I don't think they knock but so much rust off.
Yeah.
I'm just not convinced. And maybe every year I just less and less, you know?
Yeah. No, I get it, man. Trust me, I get it. I don't want to see anybody injured going into the season. It feels like a really good season coming if we can stay healthy. There's no reason to chance it right now, but the coaching staff likes to see them guys try to get in the rhythm, so that's what they do. And speaking of guys, Cam Newton made his huge return, and it was 2 passes.
And a couple of handoffs.
Yeah, and a couple of handoffs. It was a great opening.
I mean, he handed off the ball as best we have ever seen him hand off the ball.
Yeah, Bill Both was killing the Twitter tonight with that, by the way. He was like, Cam looked fantastic in his handoff.
He did.
And he did.
He's been doing it all preseason.
And then he, of course, his first pass, he did a little dump off to McCaffrey, and that's what everybody's been waiting to see. Congratulations. I think it was a 12-yard gain. And then he comes back. And
he can throw the short ball. I think I saw Just Jones tweet that. He can throw. But, you know, I found out what's wrong with Cam Newton and why he has trouble with the short pass. His arm's too long. So he, like, has the short arm.
He's like MJ from God, why am I forgetting this movie right now?
I don't know where you're going, so you're on your own.
Oh, my God, I can't believe I'm forgetting.
His arm, he's so big, is that he's like, I only got to throw it 4 feet.
Space Jam. Michael Jordan, Space Jam.
Okay, well,
God,
Michael Jordan.
That was terrible.
He is from Charlotte.
Anyway.
Owner of the Hornets.
Yeah, but so Cam, he does the little pitch off to CMC, then later in the drive, he hits
9 times. Calvin Stewart's back in the ballgame. Newton to throw, fires it, and this one's a touchdown to Kelvin Benjamin. 9 times. Calvin Stewart's back in the ballgame. Newton to throw, fires it, and this one's a touchdown to Kelvin Benjamin. 9 times. Calvin Stewart's back in the ballgame. Newton to throw, fires it, and this one's a touchdown to Kelvin Benjamin. 9 times. Calvin Stewart's back in the ballgame. Newton to throw, fires it, and this one's a touchdown to Kelvin Benjamin. 9 times. Calvin Stewart's back in the ballgame. Newton to throw.
About the Panthers, I was like, I want Bradley Roby. But I bought in after that first year and just said, you know what? I mean, dang, dude, helped. We needed him. But there was this weird response to Kelvin Benjamin last year. And, I mean, certainly, like, he didn't fight as hard on some of those fumbles and some things. But people really are just saying he's a bust. He's a bust. It was way too much. So that's what you get, folks. And you know what you got? You got a good dang surprise because Kelvin Benjamin's out there fighting. I mean,
Yeah.
he's knocking dudes down. He's coming up. He's playing excited. He's stepping over guys. He's doing that. You know, I mean, like, he
Squash
might
thing.
as well be. I think he's playing with some aggression this year. I like what I see from him.
Absolutely, and you know, Ron Rivera's in a press conference right now, and he was just talking about Cam's layup to CMC, and he said that's exactly what we've been working on. That's what we need to do.
We've been
And-
working on dump passes.
Yeah, we've been working on dump passes. That's what we want to see Cam do more of. Well, you know, Cam's still that deep threat guy, and I think we still need to use that potential as, you know, that threat as much as we can. But you have to, you can't. It's like he said, you expect the line not to roar, and the deep play and Cam's legs are his edge.
Let's get this straight, though. With Ron Rivera, he needs to chill out on this because you're not working on that. You've just never been able to do it before.
Right.
Because you ain't had anybody that can do anything except for Cam, honestly. I mean, the only thing guys could do is run downfield and win one-on-one matchups with big bodies, but they weren't running after the catch. They weren't doing anything. This is Christian McCaffrey. Think about this. When is the last offensive player that the Carolina Panthers drafted that had this type of spark? There's only been two. Two in their entire history that I can remember. One wears number 1.
Yeah.
And the other
Obviously.
wears 89, and he ain't wearing it anymore. But, like, other than that, this guy just does things. He's a playmaker. And Cam Newton has been that guy, but those other guys weren't there. So let's not act like Fozzie was that dude. It just wasn't the truth.
And in 2013, I think, was the closest we've seen Cam to a dump-off game. I just recall him taking those short, like specifically in the Patriots game. I just remember him taking those short dump-offs, and, you know, the screens worked that year and whatnot. And I remember him working out and turning into first down plays. But that was the year we had, you know, a number 2 defense in the league. Was unstoppable that way, and
one of the best defenses ever.
The offense was very methodical. It was not the deep
run
big
team.
play like you saw
Super
in
run
2015, right? And I think the 2015 season has all of our expectations like super high from here on out, and that's understandable. I mean, it's a 15-1, 17-2 season, lost in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It was
supposed
fantastic.
to come out and beat ass.
Right.
That's what I would say.
And now we've got the playmakers to do that. Give him the ball in space. You saw Christian McCaffrey tonight. You saw what he could do behind the line with this play here.
Swarmed by 6 dudes, and all of a sudden he's 30 yards up the field.
Dude.
You know what I'm saying? We've seen that. That's what. But he's been the only guy that can do anything with the ball in his hands after the play is like. It has to. Everything for the Panthers offensively under Shula. And look, I'm actually not an anti-Shula guy, but it has to go perfectly.
Yeah.
It has to go perfectly. If it doesn't go perfectly, we need a guy that can make something out of nothing. And Christian McCaffrey, I'm all in.
Right.
He's that dude.
And I saw a Shula quote, I think it was yesterday on Twitter, where it said that Shula was quoted saying, when we can get the guys that can do everything in every position, we don't have to sub. We don't have to rotate guys, and that makes things much more difficult in the defense because each of these guys can play different roles. If you're bringing in a guy to play a certain role and the defense can recognize that, it's easier for them to make a stop in the play, which makes sense, right? So if you got Curtis Samuel, Christian McCaffrey out here motioning in and out of the backfield, and I've noticed this in the Titans game and this game, KB is lined up in the slot multiple times now with McCaffrey on the outside, and both times KB has been wide open against a linebacker, which is a mismatch for the size. Just like McCaffrey against a linebacker one-on-one is mismatched because of the speed.
I'm not a X's and O's guy. Like, that's not my forte. My forte is just emotional reactions, right? And
fan forte.
Yeah. But what I think that forces defenses in to do is just have to go into man a lot. You know, I mean, like, if you really don't know what a team is going to do,
right?
And you just go, all right, you're on him, you're on him, you're on him, and then that is about getting into one-on-ones and winning that battle.
And that makes things hard for that perfect example is the touchdown from
9 times. Jonathan Stewart's back in the ballgame. Newton to throw, fires it, and this one's a touchdown to Kelvin Benjamin. It 9 times. Jonathan Stewart's back in the ballgame. Newton to throw, fires it, and this one's a touchdown to Kelvin Benjamin. It 9 times. Jonathan Stewart's back in the ballgame. Newton to throw, fires it, and this one's a touchdown to Kelvin Benjamin. It 9 times.
Christian McCaffrey, man oh man, with anybody, his speed and feed.
Stuff, according to Jonathan Stewart, can't be stopped.
Yeah. If we'll get in the regular season, we'll really start making our marks, but the kid has shown he can run through the tackles and everything else.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm sold. I'm all in on it.
Yep.
I know it's just preseason, but like I think he's the real deal.
Yeah.
I wish I would have been all in on it earlier. I mean, not that I was against it, but good God, it is impressive. It is so impressive.
And then we've talked about the excitement. We can dumb
talk
down
about
here. Derek Anderson
God, he
had
stunk.
a terrible night, and somebody
stunk.
actually commented up here for us saying something about this, I believe. Let me see if I can view it here. Whoop. He was bad. I don't know where it went.
Oh, yeah, he was bad. That's like being nice.
Yeah, anyway, I think it said something about Webb, moving Webb to second string and DA to third. And honestly, we were talking about this watching the game together. DA, outside of that beautiful pass to Kelvin Benjamin, has not had a good preseason.
Yeah,
he's thrown in
bad.
double, triple coverage. The game against the Texans where he threw that short hitch route to
he had a good
Olsen.
game against the Texans.
Yeah, but there was one play where he threw a short, like Olsen ran a hitch, and he threw it, and there was two guys standing directly in front of Olsen, and they dropped the pass, thankfully. But, I mean, he just has not looked impressive. You saw him miss KB wide open tonight. McCaffrey was open on a third down. That would have been for a first down probably.
That's not no bueno. Okay, we're back.
Yeah. I know what just happened.
So, he had this thing. This happened last week with the Titans game. I mean, he now we did turn the ball. He was one of those turnovers, but he made some poor decisions. He threw into double coverage last week. Threw into double coverage this week. It's true. Is that look? I'm telling y'all, folks. DA is living on his laurels when it comes to Carolinas. Everybody's like, "Oh, he's a backup. That's better than half the league starters." No, he's not. He's a backup for a reason, and he is each year getting less and less.
He's 34 years old.
Yeah, I'm sorry. He's just not as good as he was. 3 years ago.
He didn't play that great in the Tampa game last year.
I'll buy it 3 years ago, but now he just hasn't given. Where's it at? I haven't seen it.
And you got Joe Webb didn't play tonight, unfortunately. He's actually battling.
Gilbert looked better than everybody.
He did.
More than DA.
Yeah, and Joe Webb's really doing his best Cam impersonation. He's out with shoulder soreness, and his throwing shoulder. But
that's because he had to run all over the team last week.
Yeah, he did carry him on the back for that comeback. Joe Webb is the comeback machine in the preseason, though. He just is.
I always like Joe Webb, though.
Yeah,
What we got
He's fun to watch.
about him?
No, I don't want to dislike anything. I
no,
like Joe
but
Webb.
he does.
He hasn't done anything really
he's
wrong.
He's a perfect backup. Everybody loves him.
He kind of fits what Cam does.
Yeah.
He can scramble and whatnot.
He can do some other stuff.
Yeah,
I like him. I think Derek Anderson, I'm sorry, he just hasn't played well.
He hasn't.
He has overthrown people. He's made poor reads. And you can see that the offense just did better when he wasn't out there tonight.
Yep. And let's see, he was 10 of 19, 66 yards and an interception. Could have easily been another one. Gilbert came in, went 8 of 12 with 97 yards. Didn't get a touchdown, but
should have had a touchdown.
Yeah, there were two touchdowns.
Threw a beautiful pass to
Moses Frazier, yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And ended up being reviewed and down by contact, but he led two big drives down the field.
Toenail.
Yeah, literally.
He was down by a toenail.
So that was really good. Your rushing leaders on the day were Jonathan Stewart, who started off, I think he had that first drive, he had 4 carries for 42 yards, that big, ripped off that big run.
Yeah, he looked good tonight.
Yeah, he looked real good.
We needed to see that, too, I think, as fans, because it's not that he hasn't looked good. It's kind of hard to see how Jonathan Stewart looks in the preseason because he runs a different way.
He's a punisher.
Yeah, and you don't do that in the preseason. And our offensive line didn't get a lot of push against the Titans, but I think that's something to celebrate too. Is the offensive line tonight again?
I was getting ready to say the offensive line has looked really good. I have been on this train since the Texans game, and not so much preseason, but since the Texans game, I really think Taylor Moton. I'm going to go ahead and call it. By week 3, he will be the starting right tackle.
I haven't heard a lot about Darrell Williams, right? And which may be a good thing in his case, right? Because you don't want to hear someone's name when they're on the offensive line because you hear them and they're getting beat. So I haven't heard a lot about him, but I haven't seen a lot from him either. And I'm going to have to go back and look specifically at how he's been doing. But I do know this is that we didn't have, the Titans defense last week on the first team defense was better than our offense. They were just better than our first team offense. We didn't have Cam, got it. Didn't have Khalil. But tonight, I would say this. Our first team offense was better than their first team defense.
I really hope it was better than Jacksonville's.
They have a lot of talent on that defense, though.
On paper.
Right.
But we went down and that first, and that's always a good point. And it just always seems like the Jaguars have been building these draft picks, and they haven't necessarily culminated into what they thought the defense is going to be.
Their problem has been their quarterback play. I mean, there's been some other things. They haven't had a running back, but, I mean, they've really got some decent guys that I feel like we can at least measure our team a little bit by. I mean, did you see Kalis? It's like, Kayla Clay?
Kalen Clay?
Yeah, that dude. That one play, he actually, supposedly everybody on Twitter was saying he made a bad play, and he should have, that was on the Jonathan Stewart run.
Mm-hmm.
He straight crushed Ryan Khalil. Like, somebody need to go check on Ryan Khalil. Go look back at that Jonathan Stewart run. Do we got the Jonathan Stewart run?
I don't have the opening run, no, but I will definitely check into that. I didn't see that, but, I mean.
He did something. I don't think he did the right football move, but he dang straight destroyed that dude. That's for sure.
And then after Stewart, of course, there's Artis Payne, and I know you're big on Artis Payne.
That's
and he
my
had,
boy, man. Cameron Artis Payne just bowling brothers.
Fozzie Whitaker has kept him out of the roster for the last since he entered, really. 2015 was his rookie year.
You know who's kept him off the dang roster is Mike Tolbert. That's who I think it is. Mike Tolbert.
Well, that's a possibility. Guy. And I was talking about this on Twitter with some people earlier. If they let Cap, if they try to sneak Cap to the practice squad, he's gone. Especially after this preseason, in my opinion, anyway. And I've seen many others agree. And the question now is, Fozzie Whitaker did not have a good game tonight. Has not had a great preseason.
But he's
Fozzie is a third down back, and that's why he's here.
What we got is McCaffrey. So I've gotten in some arguments with people about this, and they told me I was a fool, and I'm telling them tonight that I'm not a fool. I ain't saying what you are, but I'm not a fool. And what I mean by that is look, Jonathan Stewart, has he had a gleaming record of health throughout his career?
Absolutely not.
No.
But in his style of play,
right,
it's not supposed to.
So here's the thing, is who is likely to go down more? I don't know. I don't know if I want to bet on it. If I was going to bet on it, I'm betting on Jonathan Stewart. So if you're going to try to duplicate some talent to have a backup that can come in and fill that role, I think Cameron Artis Payne's the guy.
And Cap has something similar to McCaffrey. He has patience. Watch this. I mean, we've talked about this multiple times. You know, me and you have both been, as well as others, have been on that
The question
train.
is, can he block? But,
But that's something he's supposed to be improved. They were. I mean, he showed patience. He waits for his blocks, similar to McCaffrey and Bell, and he just shoots off.
Watch this. Y'all on the internet can't see it, but just Google Jonathan Stewart's run. All right. Watch Clay right there. Bam! Hold on, one more time. Just trucks Ryan Khalil right there.
Oh, shit.
I mean,
like, whoops.
But he wasn't supposed to do that. He was just like, I think he had a problem with Ryan Khalil. He just went after. Here it is right here. Oh, well, but still, y'all need to go watch that. But Cameron Artis Payne has been great. Look, last week he missed a block.
Dude, he tore it up last week, though.
But he also made a block. I mean, I guess we can always pick on the play you don't make, but look at the plays he has made. And I think this is what you need to remember is that if Jonathan Stewart goes down, Fozzie can't fill that role, and we don't have Tolbert anymore.
Yeah. And, like we're saying, I don't know what it is that's really Tolbert, and I think Fozzie. Fozzie was brought in as that third down back. And I think that's really what's kept Cap out of the thing. He was activated a few games when Jonathan Stewart went down, but was never really given the opportunity to go.
Not a lot. They always give
and
it to Tolbert.
then you draft Christian McCaffrey, and now he's playing angry, but he's playing great. So continue that.
I think they're different players, though. I think Cameron Artis-Payne's a thumper.
Oh no, he is.
Right?
He's a punisher, as where Christian McCaffrey is a more elusive, agile back than not a punisher. Obviously he's 5'11", 200 pounds.
I just feel like Fozzie and McCaffrey are a duplication of talent. It's not a referendum. I'm not saying Fozzie's bad.
Here's what it will come down to: is do you keep number one? Are the Panthers going to have a fullback this year on the roster? And two, if they do, that likely means somebody in the backfield is gone between Fozzie and Cap. And right now, after judging preseason, if you're asking me after what I've seen, Fozzie's the odd man out, but they like him for the third down situations. Sure. But now you have
kick returns.
But now you have Christian McCaffrey and Curtis Samuel who can go back there and catch a pass.
I think that if you don't have Christian McCaffrey in on third down, that's just silly. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean
that's just silly. Why would you not? I'm almost ready to the point where I want him down out every play.
Yeah.
Right? But here is, I think, what you're going to have to realize, too, is that it's not just only what's going down at running back. That's the question. It's like right now, other positions are going to need some extra depth.
Oh, yeah. Specifically
safety and corner, right?
Yep.
Zach Sanchez came out and had a decent game tonight. Impressive. Worley wasn't as look, everybody's been super high on Worley. I think my concern with Worley is this.
He's been behind a step quite a couple times this preseason.
I think you got to remember, so many times Coach has always talked about the need for competition. And I think there's been a couple of kids that have been handed their positions on this team. Funchess, right? His spot.
Yeah.
And,
you move up into the second round to draft them. You have high hopes. You don't want to let that go and lose it.
Sure.
And I think him staying in the game a long period of time into the second half was something the Panthers are trying to get him going.
And he did well.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that like Worley and Funchess have to work out. That's it.
Yeah.
If they
absolutely.
don't work out, we're screwed.
Yeah, right.
And that means if that's the case, then there isn't a lot of competition at their positions, which I know you can't have super competition at every position, but I think that I would just caution everybody to not be too high on Worley. I'm not saying he's going to be bad, but what I will say is that he's only a second-year player.
Yeah.
And second-year-old player, I mean, he's going to have to learn. He's going to have to grow. And while he's shown some athleticism, he's shown some good plays, that's great. That's what you want a player to do. But hold up. I mean, yeah, he can start, but, that's going to be the weakest link in the secondary is Darren Worley.
And the other thing is, too, is I've gone back and watched some film on the first two games, and then I'll probably look at this one tomorrow. But quarterbacks are not targeting the right side of the field because of James Bradbury. Yeah. If Darryl Worley is a step behind like he is tonight in certain situations, I mean, QBs are going to be probably looking left more than they are right. And they should. Absolutely. Bradbury looks to be poised for a huge season in his second year.
It's crazy how
top
good he is.
Top-rated rookie by Pro Football Focus in 2016 at cornerback. Everybody raved about him at camp, and he's looked great in the preseason. I mean, you just haven't because he's been quiet in the preseason games. And that's what you want to hear from your cornerback. You don't. I mean, unless he's making an interception.
Yeah,
you don't want to hear his name.
Yeah, you want to hear that.
But you've been hearing Worley's name for wrong reasons.
I think Worley is the one. Everybody keeps talking about Bradbury wearing 24 and reminding them of Norman, but better. I think Worley reminds me of Norman. Like, look, I think he's a young player that plays aggressively.
This is a good point. This is a very good point.
And if you look at his body type, I think when I look at the two body types out there, I go, that looks like Josh Norman more to me. And Josh, You know what I mean? Like,
if I'm looking at just the physical body,
Bradbury's
and
bigger. Bradbury's way bigger than
but the 24
Norman.
throws me off, man. So if I'm looking at the guy in uniform, I'm like, hey, look, there's Josh Norman.
Especially think
but I
of
see your point.
Josh Norman 5 years ago, too.
But see, Josh Norman
Gangly little kid.
Josh Norman wasn't Bradbury in the fact where Norman had to work his way for years to get there, like Worley is going to have to do, like you were mentioning. And Bradbury has come into the game and really, he has poise. He doesn't let anything get to him. He's the silent assassin, his teammates have called him, which is perfect.
So. We need to see a whole year. We need to see another year out of him. But, like, hey, you know what? We need him to be.
Yeah.
We have no choice in the matter. Is he better be the silent assassin? Because without that, we ain't got nothing.
Yep.
At corner, there ain't nothing back there. I mean, you can shift Cap to the outside, and he can hang in some situations, but you need Cap playing nickel.
Yeah, that's why we brought him back, because we've had that hole in nickel.
That's an important position on the defense. So James Bradbury, in my opinion, is the most important player on the defense. I know that's an odd argument, but without him, our secondary is screwed.
Yep.
In other places, I think we have some depth. But you know what is that, man, that defensive line, Julius Peppers, Mario Addison coming in there and getting a sack. Pretty hot tonight.
Yeah, no doubt.
I'm excited about it.
Guys, if you're tuning in, you can join this conversation. You can jump in the comments like all these other great people have done and throw your mentions in there. Or if you want, you can call this number up here, 704-665-0489. Get in live on the air. Talk to us. Talk Panthers. We'll talk back if you have any questions. I saw somebody ask about the Khalil brothers. We kind of mentioned Ryan Khalil.
I didn't see Matt out there.
I saw some clips. He did get beat. He actually, the refs missed a holding on him. He got beat on a run play, on a pass play, and he grabbed the guy by the neck and was holding him and didn't let him go. But DA got the pass off, so that worked.
If you ain't holding, you ain't trying.
Right, but the last two games he did well. There was that mistake tonight, but overall, there wasn't a whole lot of pressure once again on the quarterbacks like we were talking about earlier, and that's what we want. If DA said last game he's never felt so clean in the pocket since he's been here, I love hearing that. I mean,
I wish I would hear him say, "I've never thrown two back-to-back."
Oh my God,
2 picks.
I've never thrown in double coverage
in 2 games in a row. This time he did it twice in a row. But no, I haven't seen DA on his back.
And I would like to take, by the way, I would like to say we should take 7 points off the board for Jacksonville because they faked a punt in the first quarter of the game. That advanced to the red zone, and that would never happen.
Man, if
I don't
Jacksonville, you got to do whatever.
I was gonna say the Jaguars might do that in the regular season.
They should.
Yeah,
they got to do everything, man.
Luke Kuechly was back tonight. Well, he's been back. Well, he didn't play last game.
Tell us about this neck thing.
So
his brain sweller.
Yeah, right. So if you know the story, Luke Kuechly's had 2 concussions over his career. If you've noticed, Luke Kuechly wears a device on his neck, and there's a great story.
A device. That's the craziest thing.
Right.
A device. Is it legal?
It's apparently legal and then by NFL rules, but
you can't dang right on your cleats.
Right.
Sorry.
The Riot Report actually did a great story on this. This is how I found out about it anyway, and you can check them out at riotreport.com. But this device restricts blood flow in Kuechly's neck, so it swells the brain just slightly to where it gives more padding to the skull. So when if he takes a hit to the head, there's not as much brain. The brain's not shaking as much and bouncing off the skull, which ultimately causes concussions, as we all know.
It does.
So this device he wears restricts that blood flow, and this is apparently according to.
This is the craziest thing I've ever heard.
It is crazy.
It's like you're putting yourself in a chokehold.
Yeah, but see, apparently it has the same effect as when you lay down at night. Your body restricts your blood flow to the brain, apparently, by scientists. It was in this article.
Scientists.
Yeah, and it's the same effect. It's not like a massive swelling. It's just enough to give a little bit extra, reinforcement there, I guess. So
I'm
really
not
cool
allowed
stuff.
to wear this thing. My brain would dang pop out my head. It's so big.
But Kuechly looked like a man possessed tonight. He's obviously excited to be back.
He's so good. He's the best. He's the best, man.
He's the GOAT.
He is really phenomenal. He's awesome.
A sheep.
He, you know what is? I wish they would have had this dang device for Dan Morgan.
Oh yeah.
I'd
like to know how many other people are wearing this right now. Though. Just out of curiosity, we'll have to look into that sometime.
Let's look into that, folks.
Graham Gano made a field goal tonight.
Tweet us if you're wearing your brain sweller today.
Yeah, brain swellers.
Graham Gano made a field goal. Good luck. That's awesome.
Yep, that's always good news. See, what did McCaffrey do
Christian
tonight?
McCaffrey was returning punts tonight. What about
Yes,
that?
and he took a shot to the head, which was kind of scary.
That was also scary.
But I did like to see it. He almost broke the first one he took. He had a
Almost
couple.
broke it?
Yeah, almost only counts in the horseshoes and hand grenades. But yeah, it was good stuff tonight. I was going to check the comments here. Let's see here. Keep pounding from Metro Detroit. Anthony. Yeah, buddy. No, Anderson did not play well. He definitely did not. McCaffrey to Webb, Wildcat, pass work. Webb is just more athletic, and I like Cap over Fozzie. I mean, yeah, I think I would agree with the Cap over Fozzie right now, definitely. Yeah, both Khalils were out last week. Jags had to keep their first-team offense in to score on our 2s and 3s. Yeah, so half of that story was Blake Bortles was benched for Chad Henne because he's just been terrible. He has had more opportunities than any quarterback in the NFL I can recall in the last 5 years.
Who?
Blake Bortles.
Well, he should. It was the number 1 draft pick, wasn't it? 1 or 2?
No,
It was high, man.
I thought he came out. He came
high.
out the same year as Luck, didn't he?
It was crazy high.
The year after Cam, maybe. I don't know. I could be wrong on that, but still, even if he is, you see number 1 draft picks get shoved to the side all the time in a win-now league.
Really? I think you got, look, I mean, I think that their team has been trash for a long time, and it's put up a lot of stats, and then all of a sudden people are all saying it's been garbage stats. Blake Bortles draft, when was it?
Let's see.
He's been in the league 4 years. He came in with Allen Robinson. He came in 2014. Jadeveon Clowney was number 1. Let me see. Hold on. Keep going.
That sounds right.
So, let me see. I don't know where it was. I thought he was really high up. I thought it was like mad high, but maybe I'm wrong.
Curtis Samuel. That's the other guy. He made his return tonight, too.
He was chosen 3rd overall by the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah, but that was obviously a weak QB-driven draft. Curtis Samuel came in. You saw him do a couple screens. I think he had one good fight. His hamstring looked fine. He was making hard cuts. He actually got that 1 first down. The guy tried to pull him out of bounds. He stuck it down.
Collar.
Yeah.
No, that was Demir Bird.
That was Demir Bird. And he about broke it. And but obviously that hamstring's feeling good. It's strong. So that's always good. Speaking of your boy Demir Bird.
Didn't do much tonight.
He didn't do much last week either. It's not necessarily what we'd like to see, but the dude's got wheels. Really excited to see Samuel back there. I was nervous about the rain tonight. 4 catches, 15 yards, a long of 7. I have a feeling that was that first down I was just talking about. And Anderson missed him a couple of times as well. He ran a drag where he had a 2 steps on the guy and could have had a first down on a 3rd down and maybe more. You just don't know with his kind of speed.
He was bad tonight.
He was
bad tonight.
That was definitely disappointing to see, but it's definitely a good night. The opening drive was beautiful, and the Panthers won, so that's all that matters, right?
Yeah.
And
so does that put us at 2-1?
Right, and in
we
Panthers,
gotta win the last one.
That's right. Panthers history. Typically, they make the playoffs with 500 or better records in the preseason. If you believe in superstition things,
or just data.
Yeah, it's just history.
It's just I mean, but in 2000.
But anyway, I think that's going to do it for us tonight, guys, unless anybody had any other questions, comments, concerns, snail mail. I hope they look at more depth in the secondary. I still think Breeze.
Yeah,
that's a great
gonna
point.
It's
yeah.
going to happen. Is that like this secondary? If we're not getting, look, this team is going to come down to this: is that we're going to need Peppers and Addison just mauling on the outside, because if we're not getting pressure on the quarterback, that secondary can struggle. You know, I mean, look, is that Coleman is a good safety. He's very good.
Yep.
Right? But Coleman always plays better when he plays in a good defense. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then you got two younger corners. So our team is going to thrive just like they always have if we get a pass rush.
Oh yeah.
Be real. Look, and we have
that defensive line, man, had some push tonight. I just love seeing them shoot off the ball.
Look, I didn't see Charles Johnson out there. I mean, I know he was probably out there, but here's the thing: is that I'm telling you, let's put Peppers on the left. Let's put Addison on the right. Let's make Addison a 3-down defensive end, and we'll put out there. We'll just start Peppers, Star, Short, and Addison.
I do feel like Peppers is still better than Charles Johnson.
Heck
right now.
yeah, like by leaps and bounds.
Yeah.
He's always been better.
Oh wait, well, yeah, obviously back in his heyday.
I mean, but like he brought him up. He's out walking him out. Like, I mean. It's true.
Yeah,
like, I mean, he's out there
wrong.
chasing dudes down in the open field.
You're not wrong. Guys, this show tonight is brought to you by my buddy Etched by B. He does all these cups and stuff. If you've watched this show, you have seen it before. He I hit the wrong thing. He does all these things right here. Oh, can't see if you see it. Yep. Laser engraving on cups. Just check that out, dude. You get you a C3 one.
Yeah.
Get you some
Christmas
presents for everybody.
What y'all should do is go buy one of these.
Put it in the bank.
That's what I say. Put the Lombardi in the bank. You can get that at CarolinaCatChronicles.com.
Yep. And check out all their news and stuff from the fan perspective. They always got up their good personal stories, and the podcast every Tuesday night. 9 o'clock.
That's right. The C3 Carolina Panthers podcast. You can check us out, and you follow me on Twitter at @cat_chronicles. My name's Tony Dunn. And look, I say this is the year we put it in the bank.
I would love to put that in the bank.
Come on. Beautiful.
And they've been these guys have been killing it with guests lately. You had Jordan Roderick, Pro Football Doc was recently. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, Dr. Chow.
Yep, Dr. Chow. I had
Mike K.
I've got that one queued up.
Jacksonville Jaguars beat writer.
Yep.
Week before that, I mean, we just had guests after
Max
guests.
Henson,
yeah, Max Henson.
Henson.
Man, it's just been rocking and rolling. There's been so much to talk about.
Yep.
So let's just get through this fourth game. No injuries, and get really talking about
the regular
stuff.
season.
Let's go beat
To
San
the fun
Francisco.
stuff.
To San Francisco.
Yep. Anyway, I'm Trip Morgan. This is Tony Dunn. It's been a Panther Source postgame show. Thank you for joining us, and we will catch you next time.